Recording in progress.
This segment is all about healing at the union of science, symptoms, and spirit. Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial, and this segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals publish to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. Joining me on this segment is Dr. Kristi Tompkins, and welcome to the show, Dr. Kristi.
Hi, Mark. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Great to have you. Tell us a little bit about your work and specifically, who are the types of folks that you help?
As a functional medicine practitioner, naturopathic doctor, the main clients that I focus on are women's health, and typically it's perimenopausal women, which is usually women between the ages of 35 and 55. But I see a lot of younger women in my practice that are in their 20s. So I help women reestablish harmony and balance with their body, but specifically with their reproductive hormones, so that they can live a better quality of life.
Let's talk about that a little bit. What are some of the biggest challenges that they face when they realize that they need to come to see you?
The biggest challenges, well, first of all, I would say a lot of women, a lot of humans on this planet are under chronic stress. So that tends to be a big factor in why their body has gotten out of homeostasis or balance. And I also think that with what I offer, or the functional medicine approach to healing and health, is different than the conventional care. The conventional care has its advantages, but it tends to be limited when it comes to treating the whole person, getting to the root cause of why somebody might be having symptoms. And so a lot of my female clients feel frustrated and disappointed that they're not getting the holistic, comprehensive care that they really need to feel better and heal. So I offer that whole body, mind, spirit approach to healing, and it gets them better results.
As we all grow up and go through school, none of this is really talked about, and people a lot of times don't even know where to go or where to start, or is there even a solution to this? Is that the case that you find? Do people even realize there is a solution, or what are some of the myths or misconceptions that people hold about their conditions?
Well, I think because of the internet now, people are very proactive about their own health. And so if they hear a diagnosis or they hear a certain um, uh, condition that they've been told they have, or symptoms, a lot of people are not willing to accept that as truth. And so they go searching for other possibilities and other ways of healing. And so obviously they come across me, or sometimes I get referrals, and they are often able to get the resolution to their symptoms. But a lot of certainly for my background, my history, I did not know what functional medicine or naturopathic medicine was. I don't even know that it was necessarily popular. It definitely wasn't popular back when I was younger. But now with how medicine is progressing, and other ways of healing, I think people are looking into other options because they want answers and they want to feel better, and they're not willing to settle for staying sick anymore.
Yeah, for the sake of folks that were just like you and didn't know the term functional medicine before, how would you, in your words, describe it to folks that are listening and maybe hearing the term for the first time?
So, so I'm going to use the term functional medicine and naturopathic medicine interchangeably. They came out at different times, but they are essentially the same. So we look at the whole person. We look at all the different body systems, all the different organ systems, to try to figure out what is the root cause. Let's say you're having chronic pain. Instead of giving you a pain medication, we look to see, why are you having chronic pain? What are the underlying possibilities or causes as to why your body is experiencing inflammation, and maybe why you are stuck on pain medications. Or if you're having digestive complaints, instead of giving you an antacid medication, or potentially taking out your gallbladder, we look at, well, let's look at your diet, let's look at stress, let's look at what might be interfering with your digestive system that would be then impacting your entire health. So our treatment approach, or the functional medicine treatment approach, is usually a lot safer, and it's therefore more effective, but it's also addressing the root cause. So it's safer, usually they're natural, Usually they are focused on getting to the underlying cause of why you're having these symptoms in the first place. And so we tie everything together. We integrate and blend all the different organ systems together to really give you the best healing and the best resolution, so that you're no longer having to keep going back to taking medications or keep going back to eating the same food. So there's a lot of prevention, a lot of lifestyle intervention, and a lot of, and we also address the emotional, psychological state. We're human, so it's not just a physical human body. So we look at your stress and what might be, how your mind might be upsetting your body system. So we look at it all in a very holistic way.
Fascinating insight. This may seem like a rhetorical question, but like, what are the, what are some common mistakes or pitfalls people make that may keep them stuck, or other things that they do that may not serve them well? What are some mistakes people make and pitfalls they fall into?
That's a great question. And I think a lot of times um, we, we are programmed to do certain things a certain way. We have habits, we have routines and rituals and autopilot, and we're programmed to do certain things. And I think when we start to make changes, it seems scary, it seems uncomfortable, unfamiliar, it's unknown. And we often don't like change. Our body doesn't necessarily love change. It doesn't embrace it. It wants to go back to the familiar. It wants to go back to what it knows. So it can, in some way, feel safe, even though the safety may not be healthy for you. So a lot of us kind of revert back to that old programming. And it's working with somebody like me. So I work a lot with mindset and brain-based coaching with my clients. So I help them to not just, eat this diet, take these supplements, exercise a little more, get plenty of hours of sleep. We talk about the mindset too, to help them not only make changes, but the permanent changes that are lasting.
Dr. Kristi, what inspired you to get into this line of work? How did you get started?
So my undergrad, my bachelor's degree is in nutrition and food science, and so I still to this day have a love of food as medicine and cooking and sharing meals with people, and using food as a healthy therapy. In some cases, we know it's not always healthy. Certain foods are, and that foundational study for my bachelor's degree, I went through my own health problems. I had skin issues, I had hormone imbalances, I had digestive complaints, and reflecting back at that time in my life where it reached a pinnacle of my symptoms getting really worse, I was also under a lot of chronic stress. So that created this perfect storm for my body to get completely knocked out of balance. And it stayed that way for a number of years. And then I picked up a book at either a bookstore or some sort of, I think it was a bookstore, on the Herbal Encyclopedia of Natural Medicine, something like that. And it was written by a naturopathic doctor who was a teacher up at Bastyr University in Seattle, Washington. And at that time in my life, I was ready to go back to school and pursue a doctorate program. And it just happened to be the right timing. And I do believe in timing. And I was ready to pursue something that would bring me more passion and fulfillment. And so I did. So moved up to the Pacific Northwest, completed the program, and now I'm practicing as a functional medicine doctor, but with a new passion or a new interest in mind body healing, mindset coaching, meditation. That's kind of my new recent passion lately.
I understand that you have a podcast coming out, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about what the show is going to be about and what inspired you to start the show.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. So the name of the podcast is called Fire, Soul, and Grace. I've already recorded several episodes and met you at Podcast Movement. And the general theme of the podcast is going to be on all the ways to heal the body, and not just from a physical functional medicine perspective, but also from the emotional, the psychological, the mind, as we talked about, the old programming that we have, and how to shift that and get away from that, so you can actually create a life and live a life that you love. But it'll probably incorporate themes on personal development, relationships, how to scale your business. I've received a lot of business coaching myself. And I love that. And I think for those entrepreneurs and business owners, we're definitely going to have some guests on there that will help you scale your business. And so I listen to podcasts myself. I love podcasts. I think it's a very simple, convenient way to learn and upgrade your life and up level your life in some way. And I love this avenue of being able to reach people from all over the world. And really it's about the impact. So doing one-on-one care is impactful, but when you can reach people from all over the planet, I think that's even more outstanding.
Fantastic. And your show sounds like a wonderful resource. Dr. Kristi, before I ask you my last question, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you in regards to your work or your show that you feel is really important to share with listeners?
Well, I do have a program coming out that's going to be coming out this fall, and it's actually on perimenopause, and it's on all the ways to heal, or how all the ways to navigate and adapt to the hormonal changes of perimenopause. I think it's one of those conditions that there's a lot of confusion and a lot of misconceptions about what happens during that time. And so because that's my specialty, I want to dispel the myths of how to treat it. And it doesn't just have to be a birth control pill or hysterectomy. So I have a program coming out in October. More details are going to be on my website and social media later, but that's kind of a new, and it's going to be on mind, body, spirit healing for perimenopausal women.
For those tuned in right now that would love to learn about your programs and connect with you and learn more, how can they find you and connect?
So the best way is through my website, which is DoctorKristi. It's DoctorKristi.com. That's the best way. And if you want to work with me, you can schedule a preliminary discovery call from my website. My Instagram is Dr. Kristi Tompkins, and that's completely spelled out. I don't know if you want me to spell it, but that's Dr. Kristi Tompkins. I'm the only one on Instagram. So, but yeah, those are the two best ways.
Terrific. Dr. Kristi, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
All right. Thank you, Mark. I'm so excited to be here.
That was Dr. Kristi Tompkins, and the segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals publish to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.